Hello everyone, Jeff with the Green Review. Today we're talking about pesticide labels. A lot of people think that using pesticides outdoors is a problem in their landscape. What they don't realize a lot of times is that the same chemicals or other chemicals are being used indoors as pesticides, and the indoor chemicals might be even bigger problem potentially than the products we're using outside. One of the parts of the label that many people gloss over, but is very important, is a single sentence that's on the pesticide label. It says, "It is a violation of federal law to use this product in a manner inconsistent with its labeling." When you purchase a pesticide, you're agreeing to follow the label directions. This is a legal document that's on the package that you're agreeing to follow. So you need to read the directions of how to use this product before you buy it so that you can say, yes, I agree to doing that and following those directions. You need to read those directions before you use it, before you store the package, and before you dispose of the empty package, because there's information on how to do those things on the label, and you need to make sure that you follow them correctly. There are civil and criminal penalties for not following the label correctly. There are three areas of information on the label. There's going to be a product information area, there's going to be a precautionary statements area, and then there's going to be a directions for use area. And we need to read and look at each of those sections individually. One of the first areas of the product information on the label is the product name. There are trade names for the products. For instance, this one is Roundup. A lot of people have heard of Roundup. But there's also a name for the chemical that is being used in Roundup. And in this case, the chemical name is glyphosate. Now, glyphosate can be used in other products. In fact, this product is also glyphosate, but it is not Roundup. So you have two products here with the same active ingredient, the same chemicals, and they have different trade names. So the chemical name is the same, but the trade name is different. And then along with the chemical name, a lot of times there'll be a longer active ingredient name that sort of spells out what the actual chemical is. So in that product information area then, there's the chemical name section, the active ingredient section, and then there's going to be an inert ingredient section. They do not have to be listed out individually. And the inert ingredients are not active against the pest, but they still may pose a risk to the user or to the environment. So just because they're inert doesn't mean that they aren't a potential problem. They just aren't active against the pests. Another section in the product information area are the Epa registration numbers. And these numbers may not seem important, but they become very important if you need to call a poison control center to ask them about the product. In the product information area, there will also be keep out of reach of children. That's obviously a common sense thing, but that'll be listed on the label. And then there are what are called signal words. Signal words are caution, warning, and danger. If it doesn't have any of these signal words, then it won't harm you. But if it has a signal word of caution, it could harm the eyes, the skin, or being breathed in or being ingested. If the signal word is warning, then that product might cause blindness. It might be fatal if it's on the skin, ingested, or breathed in. If the signal word is danger, then it definitely will cause blindness or be fatal if it's breathed in, ingested, or contacts the skin in too much of a dosage. So signal words are very important bits of information. They're required to be on the front of the label. So if you look at this group of pesticides on this side of the table, these are fungicides, herbicides, and insecticides that I found in my garage, and every single one of them has a caution on the label. Then underneath my kitchen sink and bathroom sink, I found these products. These Lysol sprays up here in front are cautions, but the Spick and Span, the Lysol, and the Soft Scrub are all warnings. All these, the Liquid Plumber, the Purple Power, and the Lime Away are all dangers. And then the CLR for getting rid of rust and everything is a caution. So I have a couple of cautions, several warnings, and several dangers in the kitchen and in the bathroom. So it's very important to look at these labels in advance to see what we have. Now also in the bathroom, I found another pesticide that a lot of people don't realize that they have. This one is athlete's foot cream. This is a pesticide. It's trying to kill the fungus that causes athlete's foot. And so it follows the same set of rules as the other pesticides. So a lot of people have pesticides in their house without realizing it. In fact, if these products over here mention that they kill germs, like this one says it kills 99% of germs, that makes it a pesticide. And the Lysol spray here that lists a whole bunch of different viruses and bacterias that it will kill on contact on surfaces, this is a pesticide. It has EPA registration numbers. It has the same types of information about the product and the storage and disposal. It has a caution on the front, but it's still a pesticide and has to follow the pesticide rules and regulations for labels. The precautionary statements area of the label is there for your safety. If it tells you to wear goggles or a face mask, then you need to do that. If it says to wear rubber gloves, you need to do that. The human body has some thin-skinned areas that are sensitive to contamination from these chemicals. The palms of your hand, the tops of your feet, and your lap are areas that have thinner skin than the rest of your body. You want to make sure that you don't get contaminated by having these products spilled or sprayed onto those thin-skinned areas. And this actually even continues on after you use the product. It's in the fine print that many of us don't read, and I have to have my glasses on to be able to even read it on this product. It says, wash thoroughly with soap and water after handling. So after you're done using the product, you need to wash your hands with soap and water before eating, drinking, chewing gum, using tobacco, or going to the toilet. So you don't want to be touching thin-skinned areas if your hands are contaminated. And so you need to follow the precautionary statements section of the label for your own safety. In that precautionary statements area, mention what needs to be done to protect bees and other insects, if it can be allowed to be used near water bodies or in areas where water may get it into streams or ponds. It may tell you not to use it near wells. So there's a lot of valuable information in that precautionary statements area. In the directions for use area, you're going to find out how to use the product. This is the area where you follow label directions. You'll hear that all the time. Follow label directions. Well, this is the area where those directions are. It'll mention how much of the product to use. You can't use more than what it says. It's not a beneficial thing to do to your landscape or to any other organisms if you apply too much. And so you have to follow the label directions. It'll tell you how much to use on specific crops. It'll tell you sometimes how often you can use it in a single season. You may not be able to apply it too many times without causing trouble. So there's information about that. Then there will be information on the storage and disposal. So if it mentions that it has to be stored where it doesn't freeze, that's good information to know. If it says keep out of reach of children or lock it up, then you should be doing that. If it says that after the product is empty, how do you dispose of it? So in most cases, you're going to see that it requires you to rinse the bottle before you dispose of it. Well, if you have this material in the rinsed water, now what do you do with it? Well, you mix it back into your sprayer or you apply it to the landscape just as though it were part of the original application. So if it's a product that gets poured around the base of a tree, then you mix up you rinse the bottle and you mix that up and you spread it around the base of the tree and you apply it until the product container is empty and clean before you can dispose of it. There'll be information in the directions for use on minimizing the amount of drift, amount of spray that can evaporate and cause damage. It'll list the temperature range that you can use the product so that it doesn't evaporate too quickly. There will be a list of the pests that are controlled, but it doesn't say how well they're controlled. It doesn't say that it'll control 99% or 5%. There will be a list of the crops or plants that can be sprayed or drenched or whatever application method is used on the label. So don't use it on crops that are not listed. It will list sometimes different dosages for different crops. So if it says to use it on a lot in one crop and a small amount in another crop, don't use the larger amount on the other crop, because the reason that's listed that way is because they've already found that there could be damage to that crop. So follow the label directions and use the proper amounts for each crop. It's actually against the law to apply too much. If you find any brochures or other information about the product, they cannot contradict the label. Now, labels do change occasionally, so that it's important to read them over and over again before each use to find out the proper amount, because concentrations change and other information changes. But if you need more information, especially about the safety of the product or any kind of hazards that the product might cause, you can get material safety data sheets for each product. Those are available from the manufacturer's website or online from a variety of sources. And it is a good idea to read those material safety data sheets before you apply any product. And material safety data sheets are not just available for pesticides, they're also available for all your household chemicals. So if you really want to find out more information about how dangerous one of these products is, then find the material safety data sheet for that. And the material safety data sheet is a lot of times abbreviated MSDS. So there are three areas of the label: product information, directions for use, and precautionary statements. So make sure you read all those areas before you buy the product, before you use the product, before you store the product. And that way you can be sure that you're using it properly and safely. Oh yeah, one more thing, I almost forgot. Reference to any product, trade name, trademark, manufacturer does not constitute or imply an endorsement or recommendation, and exclusion does not imply non-approval. This has been your Green Review. Thanks for